Welcome to Data and AI Conversations with Surya. That's me. Here we dive into real stories, insights, and career journeys. So let's get started. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Surya. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you were able to do this with me. I just want to introduce you first to the listeners. So, Steph, you're the lead data architect at ANS, and you are also a very committed member to the data community. You are a committee member for SQL Bits and for Data Relay. You are also a mentor with MCR Pathways. And on top of all of that, you're also doing an MSc. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. I don't have a lot of free time at the moment.
That is probably going to be the first question. We're going to be like, okay, how do you do all that?
Yeah, it's a busy time of year, and we've got relays in April and SQL Bits is in June. So we're in planning for both of those at the moment, and my degree will finish in April. So I'm really looking forward to some downtime after June, having a couple of months of just peace and quiet.
Yeah, that'll be good. So for those who are not familiar, can you give a quick rundown of what is SQL Bits and what is Data Relay? And I'm curious about the MCR pathway as well.
Yeah, sure. So SQL Bits is a large UK-based data conference. It runs it's 4 days this year. We have done 5 in the past. And we have multiple tracks, multiple days, and a mixture of training days. So you can go and have a full day training day on a particular topic, or there's a sort of back-to-back 50-minute sessions. So you can pick and choose and plan your own agenda. Evenings are busy too. So we have like a games night, we have quiz night, we have a party. There's something going on all the time. We have, I look after the volunteer team. So I've had up to 90 volunteers over the course of a week in the past. And that's enormous fun. It is. It's all the volunteers are so fantastic. And we've got a load of new people starting with us this year as well. And if there are first-time attendees, we have SQL Bits buddies. And you can find that on the SQL Bits website. So reach out to the buddies. They're there to sort of help you navigate if it's your first event or you don't know anybody or you just need a bit of extra support. And Data Relay is slightly different. It has been a 5-day event in the past. It's 3 days this year, and that is different cities. So we travel between cities, pack up all of our kit at the end of the day, put it in the van, drive down to the next venue, set it all up again. So it's a very different vibe. And that's this year is April, 29th of April in Leeds, and then Birmingham, and then Bristol. So and that's a free event, midweek free event.
See, the Data Relay then are you expecting the speakers to move from location to location with you, or do you just join on one, or?
A bit of both, to be honest. So when we do our call for speakers, we give people the option to say how many days do they want or which day can they do, because some people are local to a venue and they just want to do that one. Some people actually coming in from overseas. We have people coming in from Europe to speak, so they might come with us for the 3 or 5 days. Certainly last year we had a coach and we had a lot of speakers that stayed with us for the full week, and we did 5 days with them in the coach.
So can you quickly tell me about the MCR pathway as well?
Yeah, MCR Pathways is a Scottish charity, and it's really for mentoring children in school who need a little bit of extra support. So either they have mental illness or some kind of neurodiversity, they have issues at home, they're under a social worker, a variety of different things. They just need a bit of extra support. And they've done some studies and basically they say that what they call a successful outcome, which is leaving school and then going either into full-time work or going on to further education, is 56% for the kids in that bracket. in those types of categories. And with a mentor, it's in the 80s. So I go in once a week and mentor somebody in school, and you stay with them for their school journey until they leave school. And just basically you're an adult that is not in the system. So you're not a teacher, you're not their parent, you're not a social worker, you've got no professional sort of impact in their life. You're just there to listen to them, to support them, to guide them, and to give them somebody that's an outlet that's not, going to get back to somebody and get someone in trouble, or whatever it is that they think. So and it's really good. And I was mentoring somebody who left school last year. So he left school in May, it would have been last year, and I still mentor him. He's now in college, and I still mentor him. He asked me if I would carry on, so I said yes.
Oh, that's great.
But it's really good. It's really good, and he's thriving. Yeah, he's doing really well.
That's what you want to see, right? Young people just finding their own place.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of So how did you get started with the community building aspect of it? Like
the data platform community, I went along to my local user group. It was the first thing I did. And it was, 2010, I suppose. Probably my very first user group, and that was Southampton. It was a SQL Server. It's the user group in Southampton. It's still going. It's the data platform user group now.
Wow.
They're still active. They still meet regularly. That was my first. And my first user group meeting, I think there was about 6 of us, and it grew. And then the person that was running it moved away from the area, so I took over. With John, who's now my husband, and we ran it for 11 years until we moved to Scotland. So I met a lot of people through the user group, and then sort of when I went to SQL Bits, I knew people who'd come and spoken at the user group, or who'd who knew people who knew people who knew people, and then I started volunteering at SQL Bits, just sort of room monitoring and just helping out where I could. So it's been a really interesting journey, and I think the community is what you make it. I do see people that just show up to events. They show up, they do their learning, they go home, and they're happy, and that's fine. But actually, if you want to get involved, it's such a welcoming community, and there's always something going on, something to get involved in.
I definitely agree with that, because that is how we met as well, isn't it?
Because
I was like, I'm going to try this conference out for one day. So I volunteered for a Saturday.
Yeah.
Just, trying to get a feel of things, because you do well. At that time, I was trying out a lot of conferences, and you immediately know from the vibe whether it is something that you fall in love with, or it is something that's like, it's well organized and stuff, but it's maybe not, where I sit. So when I sat at SQL Bits, but like when I came down to SQL Bits, it was amazing. I was just like, wow, I found my people.
And you're coming back this year, aren't you? I know you're on my volunteer list again this year.
I'm coming back this year. So yes, you'll see me there. Running around a very famous orange shirt.
Yes, yeah. Our orange army. Yeah.
So why is it orange?
We used to have different colours every year, so we would have a different colour depending on the event, and even checked or harlequin shirts, and
okay, so there is a whole collection in your wardrobe of
yeah, exactly, yeah, and so you sort of keep one from every year, and and one year we had orange, and it was just so obvious that who the helpers were, because you could see them. So from an attendee perspective, knowing that person's in an orange shirt, so therefore they must be a SQL Bits helper, I can go and ask them for help. It just made us stand out a little bit more. And to be honest, we don't see many other attendees showing up in orange shirts. So we're not likely to get confused with people.
Definitely. And it's now part of the branding as well, isn't it? Orange is the color that is associated.
Yeah, orange and blue. So yeah, the committee, we have black, blue and orange. So yeah.
So moving on to your day job, what does that look like? You're a data architect. So what kind of technical areas do you work with?
So I'm data platform and analytics. So I come from a data platform background. I come from a SQL Server background. Well, no, that's not strictly true either. I was an app dev before I was a data person. But yeah, so it's Azure. We don't do anything with other cloud providers. We're a Microsoft partner, so I work exclusively with Azure. Primarily Synapse, and now moving into Fabric, and it's a mix of workloads, to be honest. We work with a lot of public sector, so a lot of health care providers, trusts, local authorities, and things like that. So we're working with people who don't have necessarily a huge budget, a huge amount of time constraint, a huge amount of data constraint. Data quality is always an issue. It's an issue in every business. That's not a public sector problem necessarily, but there's a lot around trying to do data modeling with, yes, but we might have an issue here because, those kinds of conversations. So I work primarily with customers to design the platform. So things taking into account like security considerations and users, who the users are, where they're accessing it from, build up a design, and then do all the documentation for it. And then in theory, hand over to our engineering team to do the engineering, although I do still get involved in that from time to time as well, especially if it's SQL. I'm like, do you know what, I can do that in my sleep. I can still do that. I'll take that. But yeah, so our primarily we're using Fabric at the moment.
I was looking through the ANS website and I saw that you had done something with Shelter Scotland as well.
There's a project. Yeah, there's a project with Shelter going on. Yeah, I don't know that it's specifically Shelter Scotland. That may have been a previous project.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, again, charities. We're quite big in that sector as well.
That's really good, because you're in that space where most people don't know how to deal with their data in the first place, isn't it? And like you said, they're restricted by the amount of data that they have, or they're restricted by the amount they can spend on trying to get a solution. So that's
especially a charity. You're giving to a charity. You want that money to go where it's needed, not on their IT systems. So yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's we do have a good variety, and also because ANS have a part of the business that deals with D365 as well. So we see a lot of projects that we're working with low-code team working with D365. So we're pulling data from Dynamics. We're using Power Automate and Power Apps and things like that. So we're having to work closely with other teams in an area that's not necessarily our wheelhouse. So you have to try and learn, and it's like learning another language sometimes.
Keeps things interesting though, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So how did you get started? Like, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's getting started in data or just started recently-ish?
I think it's obviously everything's changing a lot faster now than it was when I sort of came into the business and sort of 25 years ago, which is a frightening amount of time ago. But I mean, I left university with a degree in politics. I never wanted to work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I wanted to be a diplomat. That was the job that I really wanted. And I just realised that I'm not overly tolerant of people that don't tell the truth. So that's probably not going to work out too well for me. So I took a job as a temp, and I was a project coordinator and project manager. And then the project finished, and they offered me a job in their test department. So I became a software tester. And it was Windows 3.1, and it was back office software for petrol stations and dial-up modems. It's really showing my age. Half the people listening to this are going to go, what now? So yeah, and so from there, I used to sit with developers, and I just thought, I can do that. So I taught myself to code, taught myself C#, did my very first Microsoft exam, was .NET 1, and then it kind of, things started to speed up. The technology is moving faster and faster. The data sets are getting bigger and bigger, and I just thought, I can't do full stack anymore. I can't do the data, the business layer with .NET, and I can't, and it was web development, HTML sort of thing that back then, and I can't do all of it well, and I don't like to do half a job. I like to do a job well. So I was like, I'm going to have to focus. I'm going to have to narrow down what I do. And I hate HTML and I hate JavaScript. So I'm not doing that side of it
anymore. Yeah,
so that's really where I started to do that data. And my first real big data project was a SQL 2000 migration. So from 2000 to 2012. Yeah. And that was my first real big data project. So I've really got to where I am largely through luck and accident. Very little of my career has been planned or conscious decisions. There have been a few. There have been that would be a good move for my career. I think I'll go and do that. So I think the advice I would give is, don't try to predict what you're going to be doing in 25 years' time, because actually things are moving so fast. We don't know what the landscape's going to look like. You've got Gartner and various other analysts who are predicting, the effect that AI is going to have on jobs in the industry and things. But nobody really knows. Because next year it will be something different, and we didn't see that coming, and what impact's that going to have. So I would say, don't try to predict, and don't be scared to say, I want to do this now, but I don't necessarily want to do it forever. Python's a great language to learn. That seems to be, and I do say this to people who come to me and say, what language should I go learn? I say, go learn Python. Or go learn, something in that space, because I think that's so versatile. It's used in so many, different parts of an IT. It's not data and analytics specific. Yeah. So, and just embrace the data community, really, because that's where you'll find the next things. And I've had so many jobs and so many job offers from the data community. From people I know that know me by reputation, that know my work. ANS was actually the first job that I've had in about 4 or 5 jobs that I actually had to apply for. Well, I don't say that. I've applied for all of the other jobs, but I've been referred in. I've known people and I've been referred in, whereas ANS was the first one that I went through LinkedIn and went, I need a job, and found it. But up until then, it'd been through the community. People I knew. Well, we've got a job opening. Are you interested in applying? So yeah, definitely embrace your community. Get involved.
Yeah, definitely good advice there. So next we have some recurring segments, right?
Okay.
So the first one is data hot takes. So is there any surprising opinion that you have heard about data?
There are common misconceptions, I think, especially in the cloud, that if I've put it in the cloud, then Microsoft look after my security for me, right? Not really, no. I still see the same things that I saw 25 years ago, which is testing comes last, if it gets done at all. Security is an add-on, and CI/CD is hard. So I think those are the. But if you get those right, the rest of it just works. But those are the things that people really struggle with. They struggle with the concepts. They struggle with the implementation, and so it kind of gets shuffled back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. I suppose it all comes down to basic again, especially if you say that you're seeing the same mistakes that you've seen 25 years ago. That's a bit telling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So let's do the solution first, and then let's worry about everything else later.
Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say is the repeating of the same mistakes, which is I've got a system that's on premises that doesn't really work very well, doesn't give us everything we need. We want to migrate to the cloud. This is the way that we do it, but this is how our business works. This is how our reporting works. This is how this works. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't work overly well, does it? So let's not just move the same problems to another environment. Let's maybe try to fix some of them. But there's certainly in public sector, you see quite a lot of like, but that's the way we do it, and a real, difficulty in saying yes, but how should we do it? That's a bit of a leap for people. Just on the change management side, the tech is fine. The tech is easy. It's the mindset that's the hard bit with migrations.
Right. So do you have any insider intel for us? What's one essential tip that every data and now AI professional should know?
Oh, that's really hard.
To be fair, you have given a lot of tips already in this conversation. Maybe we should just...
I would say actually, this kind of like this probably answers the previous question about controversial points. We're quite focused on exams, and we do a lot of exams, and actually for ANS, it's part of being a Microsoft partner is a certain number of people being qualified in various different exams. Exams aren't a substitute for experience.
Okay.
I can understand, I can know exactly how to do something, and then I'm presented with the screen to do it, and it's not the same. It's never the same. So I think if you're going to learn something, don't just, Microsoft Learn is a great resource. Don't just read the docs and the text. Do the labs. Spin up the environments and actually get hands-on, because it will stick a lot better. And and don't just do the things that Microsoft Learn tells you to do. So click this, do this, and now hey presto, you've got a Fabric pipeline. Fantastic. Now let me try and break it. What else can I do? What does that button do? How do I do this? Go and take the time to explore the other things rather than just the prescribed tutorials, because I think that's the best. I think that's the best way to learn. Having an exam for me doesn't tell me that you know how to do the job. It tells me you know how to pass an exam, and there are plenty of really, really, really good people that I work with and have worked with over years who can't do exams.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
But they are some of the best engineers I've worked with.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. To be honest, I kind of always tell people to try and do portfolio projects. But pick something that you're interested in, and then do the data part of it, so that it all comes together, and then you have something to present to other people and talk about something that you're passionate about as well. It gives you like multiple things.
Yeah. And that's I think the hard thing for me. I've really struggled with the inspiration for what do I actually, what problem, I need a problem to solve before I can go solve, create something to solve. And then I struggle to come up with those. Interestingly, the person that invented Elasticsearch, that was exactly what happened to him. He watched his wife struggling with juggling recipes, and so he built it as a way for her to manage recipes. And that's where Elasticsearch came from. So I don't think that's just an awesome story, because I remember trying to do recipes in SQL and giving up. Maybe I should go revisit it with something else. Put some stuff in a lake house, put some delta tables in, or I don't know. But I think that's a really cool story. I struggle with inspiration to go, what do I want to build?
To be honest, I have the opposite problem. I have a lot of ideas that come in because I meet so many people, and I'm like, ooh, you could do this, ooh, you could do that, but not, not within the time frame that you have, but
yeah.
maybe we could have a chat. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, your ideas and
yeah, maybe we can come to an understanding. I'll just throw all my ideas in your direction and you can see what you can do. Okay, so the next question is about balancing it all. Like, you do so much. So how do you manage the work-life balance? Is that even a thing? And is there any hobbies that help you kind of recharge?
Yeah, so because I have the degree, that is my primary focus at the moment, because it's a short-term thing. It's it's going to be finished at some point, and I'm not doing a PhD because I've discovered I really hate doing research. So that's finite. So for me, I'm like, I finish work at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and that's me done. I don't take my work. I work from home, but I don't take my work home with me. I don't take it out of my office. That's not to say I don't do extra hours if I need to, but I'm very conscious that is not right now is not my priority. So I think for me, it's about prioritizing. I try to prioritize having a lunch break as well. I'm entitled to have one. I should be taking it. It's good. It's good for your physical and mental health to get away from your desk, stand up, walk around, have something to eat, get some fresh air. So that's kind of how I balance that. But also, I mean, I live on a small holding, so I've got 18 acres, and
oh wow,
a lot of work needs doing there. So my study is during the winter. My summers are I finish work and so what do I do to recharge? I'll go out and, I don't know, fix fencing or roofing or something that very not IT related.
It's the mindset. I get to do this away from the, laptop.
It's very much a, I've got my work environment, and then I finish work and the wellies go on, and that's it. And I'm outside. I like being outside. I don't like being cooped up indoors particularly. I did say jokingly, I've got a really, really big greenhouse. Well, I will have when we fix the roof and the walls that have fallen down. But I did say I want to get out of IT. I want to work the farm. I want to be outside and I want to do stuff. And then I started to think I could set up some IoT devices in my greenhouse and I could measure the moisture content. And I was like, it's never going away. I'm never going to escape.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get one of the students to come and do a portfolio project on that. Set up the IoT stuff. And you do have like pets as well, isn't it? And surprisingly, cat and dog that get along well.
They do, yeah. So I've got 5 cats. So 2 that I've had for 2018 I got them, so I can't do maths at this time of day. So I've had them since 2018. So they're actually 10. They'll be 10 next month. So they were rescued. And then when we moved to Scotland, we got 3 more. So they're sort of 2.5 years old. And then we've got a collie as well who's just over a year. And him and especially the 3 younger cats, they got on absolutely great. I take the dog out for a walk in the morning, and I take at least 1 and sometimes 3 cats with me. Yesterday morning I had, so I've got dog treats in one pocket and dreamies in the other. And they get on great. But I've also got 3 other cats on the farm who are not mine. So they're from adjoining properties, adjoining farms. And they've sort of taken up residence in my barn. So, yeah. So technically 5 of my own, plus 3, plus a dog. Yeah.
But that's brilliant, though. It'll be so nice to see you walk down with a dog and 3 cats in a row.
Yeah.
Because, before I spoke to you, I never realized that cats go on a walk. What? Most of the cats I know don't go on a walk.
Yeah, they do. It's quite incredible. They will walk, because I walk around the outskirts of the small holding, and they will come all the way around with me. Yeah, it's bizarre. And my old cat used to come for walks with me, but yeah, to have all three of them do it is quite strange.
Maybe it's you. They're just following you. They're just like, you know, I will follow you anywhere kind of
Yeah.
thing.
The trouble is we keep having to stop for like dreamies and fuss and photos and things like that. Especially this week, the weather has just been incredible up here, and you know, beautiful clear skies and sunshine, and so lots of pictures of cats sitting in the sun. And so this morning I managed to do the walk in 15 minutes, because that's all it takes for me to get around the farm with the dog, because I didn't have any cats. Some days it can take up to an hour to do the same walk. Poor dog's just sitting there going, "Can we go now?"
Oh, it's a very patient one, isn't it?
He is, yeah.
Okay, now for the very divisive question, I suppose, something that, you know, the way you answer can actually now affect our relationship going forward. Are you ready for that?
Slightly concerning. Yeah, go on.
Okay, sweet or savory, which is your comfort food?
Savoury. Every time, savoury. Yeah.
Why do all the people I know like savory stuff? I'm such a sweet food. So what do you like snack on then?
Mostly crisps or things like that. I'm vegan. I've been vegan for 15 years. So vegan cheese has got a lot better. So vegan cheese and crackers is my other one. And that's a fairly new thing, because having given up cheese 15 years ago, I'm having to go largely without, because vegan cheese was so awful. But yeah, it's got better. There's a lot of competition in that market now. It's incredible competition. It's like, I don't know if you did this when you worked in an office, when we were all in the office 5 days a week, and it was somebody's birthday, they would always bring cakes in. And and I would never eat cakes. I would bring things in for if it was my birthday, or you know, but I would never eat cakes if other people brought them in, because they're all, you know, either dairy or eggs.
With eggs,
and it didn't bother me, because I didn't have a sweet tooth, so I never felt particularly left out, because it wasn't like, oh, I can't have anything. I was like, even if I wasn't vegan, I wouldn't eat them, so it's fine. And then somebody brought me in a box of lychees one day, because they felt guilty. They brought cakes in, so this box of lychees appeared on my desk, and I thought, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with these. I've never had a lychee in my life. What am I supposed to do with it? I would have been fine with no cakes and nothing up, but thanks for the thought. But yeah, it was a bizarre thing to bring in.
I was never thinking of you. They were like, you know, oh, we'll get
absolutely. It was a lovely thought. It was, yeah. I just felt very uncultured.
So do you have any upcoming events, projects, or anything exciting that you would like to share with our audience?
I think obviously Data Relay coming up in April. That's the 29th of April. And then SQL Bits in June. There are a number of meetups. I don't tend to try. I try to get to meetups now. And you're obviously involved in the one in Aberdeen. And I've had clashes the last few times that's been on, unfortunately. But I think if people are interested in events, there's always meetups happening. And actually, there's a lot of meetups now have gone virtual. I know that the Southampton Data Platform Group does both in-person and virtual events. So I think have a look on Meetup if people are interested in what's happening in their area. Microsoft Reactor, there's a lot of stuff coming out of that as well. They've just recently done some Fabric DP700 training, that's come out of that. So nothing that I'm particularly involved in, but Data Toboggan is a really good event as well. That's another one for people to look at. And yeah, I look forward to seeing people in Relay. I will hopefully be in Leeds on the 29th of April. So
I'm going to have a look at the dates and see if I can make it to one of them. I do love the community aspect. I do love meeting people and, learning so much in one go. It's ridiculous how much you can learn in one day.
Yeah, and I think you can, and also, but it's the contacts you make, and then it's harder now. I used to do it when Twitter was a thing, but I can't use X, and I can't get on with the others. So, but it used to be, I don't know the answer to the question, but I know who does. I'll just message them, and you can go through LinkedIn or whatever. But it's knowing the people. Oh, I saw that person did a talk on this. They're a bit of an expert on it. I'll reach out, and everybody in the community is willing to give up their time to answer questions, because they don't get paid for speaking. So that's that's a real benefit, making those connections and knowing who knows things.
Yes, especially as things move so quickly, there is no way of keeping up with everything without
no, exactly.
I think I now have my own panel of experts for everything that I'm interested in, that I could potentially do in my mind. I'm building my panel of experts. It's like call a friend kind of thing. Like, I know
it is.
What's wrong with this part of it, but it's definitely, the community is amazing, and we would encourage everybody to take part and learn from it as well. So that's it. It was lovely speaking to you, Steph.
And you, thank you very much for inviting me.
And that's a wrap. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to follow for more and share it with others. See you at the next one. Till then, keep connecting and keep learning.